welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into a genuinely gripping statistical mystery hidden right inside the April 2026 real estate data for Chicago's Beverly neighborhood. You know, if you've been following the housing market for a while, you expect data to just kind of confirm what we already suspect. But every now and then, the numbers throw us an absolute curveball that just demands a closer look. And honestly, that is exactly what we've got here. Let's dive right in. So we're investigating a massive, frankly shocking, 42.2% month-over-month jump in median sold prices. That single massive leap pushed the median sold price for homes in Beverly to a staggering $537,500. Just think about that for a second. A jump of over 40% in just 1 month. That's not normal market behavior. It's a massive anomaly. So we really need to ask, what on earth happened in April 2026 to cause such a violent spike in closed sale prices? Well, to understand exactly what's driving this incredible spike, we're going straight to the source. We'll be analyzing the official April 2026 Market Activity Report provided by local realtor Maurice Hampton and the Midwest Real Estate Data Network. We're going to peel back the layers of this report together to see if we can find the exact pressure points causing these prices to just absolutely explode.
Section 1. The Beverly Market Boom.
Setting the stage with the overarching trend, the report unequivocally classifies Beverly right now as a strong seller's market, and you can see the data skews heavily to the seller's side. What this means in practical, everyday terms is that the power dynamics are tilted way in favor of the homeowners. When you have a market that leans this far out of balance, sellers get to call the shots, and buyers, well, they're left scrambling to compete.
And that seller advantage translates directly to a 101% sold-to-list price ratio. The absolutely crucial point here is that buyers aren't just meeting the asking price. They are consistently paying over the initial asking price just to win these homes. This single metric is proof that we aren't just looking at a normal market. We are witnessing highly competitive, aggressive bidding wars in real time. Moving on to Section 2, taking the market's temperature.
To figure out why this aggressive bidding war is happening, the report uses a really vital metric called months of inventory to evaluate supply. If you aren't familiar with this one, it's calculated by dividing the end-of-month active listings by a 12-month rolling average of newly pending homes. Essentially, it tells us exactly how fast the current stock of homes would be completely wiped out if no new properties ever hit the market again. It is basically the ultimate measure of market scarcity.
And the crucial number for us here is 1.38. Beverly currently sits at an incredibly low 1.38 months of inventory. To add a little context there, that's down 9.8% from the previous year. You know, a balanced, healthy market usually sits around 4 to 6 months. At 1.38, it means if no new homes were listed today, the entire neighborhood of Beverly would completely sell out in under 6 weeks. That is extreme scarcity, and honestly, it forms the very bedrock of our mystery.
Which brings us to Section 3, Supply, entering the market.
Knowing supply is historically this tight, you might be wondering if sellers rushed in to take advantage of these high prices. Well, interestingly enough, yes, they did. 32 new properties entered the market in April. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a healthy drop of water in the desert, right? In fact, it actually represents a very significant 77.8% increase in fresh inventory compared to the previous month. Normally, you'd expect a flood of new inventory like that to cool prices down.
But here is the central mystery of our explainer today. The median list price for all active listings was a relatively modest $390,000. Yet, as we established right at the beginning, the final median sold price skyrocketed to $537,500. There's a massive, gaping chasm between what sellers are actually asking for and what buyers end up paying.
Interestingly, even if we look at just the brand new listings for April, those 32 homes that just hit the market, their median list price actually dropped 13.4% month over month to $449,900. So, sellers actually aren't the ones jacking up the initial prices. They're listing slightly lower or staying modest, yet the final sales prices are still going through the roof. This tells us the spike isn't being driven by bold sellers, it's driven by something else entirely.
That leads us right into Section 4, Demand, making the deal.
If asking prices are dropping or staying modest, that massive final sold price jump must be driven entirely by aggressive demand from buyers making the deal. Comparing our demand indicators, 21 new properties went into pending status. And just look at how fast it happened, a median of just 12 days on the market. Eager buyers are hovering, and the second they see that relatively affordable inventory, remember, the median list for these pendings was just around $364,000, they're snatching it up at absolute lightning speed. By the end of the month, the total snapshot showed 32 properties sitting in pending status, successfully locking in over $12.2 million in total real estate volume. And again, consider that the median list price for these pending homes hovered at a really modest $369,999. Buyers are literally rushing to lock down these contracts before anyone else can jump in.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, the seller's advantage.
Tying this whole supply and demand mystery together reveals the ultimate advantage sellers currently hold. To gain some perspective, the underlying estimated median property value projected for the following month, May 2026, rests at $448,890. Now, this value has been steadily, organically climbing about 5.5% over the past 12 months. This represents the true, quiet appreciation of the neighborhood. But think about how much lower that $448,000 figure is compared to our $537,500 sold reality. The market is vastly, vastly outperforming the algorithms.
And while the overall median days on market for actually sold properties ticked up to 18, which, sure, represents a 260% increase month over month, it is still incredibly fast. That slight bump in time, that's likely just the friction of intense bidding war negotiations, appraisals, and, the complex closing mechanics when you have buyers pushing final prices 42% higher than the month prior. The fierce competition remains the defining factor here. So mapping it all out, the data paints a very clear, powerful narrative. Step 1. Ultra-constrained supply, with only 1.38 months of inventory available. Step 2. This meets rapid, aggressive buyer action, with homes pending in just 12 days. And Step 3. This collision results in incredible final sales that blow right past the initial asking prices, landing at 101% of the list price and causing a 42% monthly price spike. It's like a perfect storm for sellers. So, looking at these intense, rapid-fire market forces, we're left with a fascinating reality. The numbers tell a story of a neighborhood in extremely high demand, where the list price is basically just a starting suggestion for eager buyers. The real question you should take away from this is, with only 1.38 months of supply and bidding wars aggressively pushing final prices upward, how will you navigate Beverly's fiercely competitive landscape? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep an eye on the data, and, as always, keep learning.